Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever time it may be that you're listening to my voice. Um, I'm going to continue with a little reading of Revolutionary Gangsters from where we left off at the last reading. And I wish everybody peace and power to the people. So let's see, we're like at about page 117. Okay, so let's get it on. I realized that when I came home after counting the money before my mother or John and them came to the house, that I had a little over $16,000 that I had brought with me after leaving part of my money at my grandmother's house and stashing it in my sister's room. Okay, when I came home, I had called John first, and I called the Black Panther Party office because that was where I was hoping that he would be and not in the field. When I called the Panther office, a female's voice answered, and I realized right away that it was Joanne Chesmar, who later became known as a Setter Secor, who's allegedly somewhere in Cuba right now with a $10 million bounty on her head. And the Cuban government has told the USA that they are not going to turn her over. And power to the people to that. She's a beautiful sister. And I don't care what the media says about her and all that other stuff. A lot of that is fabricated, and don't believe everything you hear, especially from FBI, CIA, and all these other characters that try to pull you down when they think that you low to the ground. Anyway, she answered the phone, and she was elated to hear my voice, as I hadn't seen her in a while. And I says, power to the people. And she said, who is this? And I said, don't you know my voice? And she got happy and said, oh, wow, I ain't seen you in a while, G. What's going on? Why you ain't been by the office? We just keep missing each other. I said, who's the OD, the officer of the day? She says, I am. I said, right on, sister. You moving up in the ranks. You holding the office down. And she started giggling. I said, I need to speak to Big John. Where's he at? She told me, well, he just pulled up and he's coming in the office in a minute. Is everything all right? I says, yeah, but I need to speak to him urgently. A few minutes passed by, and Big John picked up the phone and said, power to the people. What's going on, G? I replied, I need a face-to-face with you to seize the time now, but I can't make it your way. I need you to come my way. Big John interrupted me with concern in his voice. He says, are you okay? Where you at? Is any pigs or niggas involved? And I said, nah, it ain't like that. I'm okay, but I need to see you. It's urgent. Big John said, okay, that's cool. He said, I just came from the field with Javannah. I'll be there in about 20 minutes. Hold on. The phone was muffled for a minute. Then Big John spoke again, saying, Javannah says she wants to see you also. And I says, wow. Big John added, she is my lieutenant of security for the day, so I'm bringing her along with me. And I hope that you don't have a problem with that. Big John hung up the phone on me. After I put the phone back on the hook, I sat back down in the kitchen chair for a minute, thinking about Javannah. She had become the baddest and most respected sister in the Black Panther Party in New York. I had introduced her to the Black Panther Party, educated her politically, taught her martial arts, and also taught her how to use all the weapons that I had correctly and effectively. Javana learned very fast. She was very intelligent and had an excellent memory like me. She was also very tough and had crazy heart like me too. Brothers and sisters in the party used to call her my other half. Javana had an outstanding personality and she was a good communicator. To top that all off, she was considered to be the prettiest, finest, and sexiest young black woman in the Black Panther Party on the whole East Coast. Savannah was only 5 feet 4 inches tall, excuse me, a shorty, and she had a body that was out of this world, beyond perfection. In rating dimes, she definitely would be rated $1. Her neck and shoulders were a work of art. She had lovely, medium-sized, full breasts that stood up even without a bra on. Her lower neck and waist was tiny, then spread out large with big hips. Her ass wasn't that big, but it was nice and round and firm. She was what I thought was perfect as far as the shape and body of a young woman. Javana's face was very pretty. She had round hazel eyes, high cheekbones, a cute little nose, and full, luscious lips. And when she smiled, it was like the sunshine. Javana had light skin and golden tan complexion. The natural color of her hair was light auburn. Her hair was thick and she preferred wearing it in a medium-sized afro. Javana was a natural woman. She never wore any makeup or tried to look sexy. She knew God blessed her with a natural good looks and an outstanding body, and she never tried to show it off in public or flaunt herself in any kind of way. She was very confident with high self-esteem, but at the same time very modest. Javana never wore tight-fitting or revealing clothes. Even with loose-fitting blouses and jeans or pants, one could easily detect that Javana was very healthy and stacked properly in all areas. And she had a natural walk that was so graceful and sexy. She could stop traffic and turn heads at times. Javana didn't take any mess from anyone, and before I taught her any martial arts, she was a tough street fighter with a mean knuckle game. She wasn't a scratcher or girl fighter. Better than the average man on the street. Javana had a hot and quick temper though, somewhat like my grandma, Lizzie Lee. But Javana could change moods in a heartbeat, and her tongue was like a sharp, double-edged sword. She could talk about anything and make anyone listen with interest. She could also skillfully cut or slay someone with harsh or ice cold words if she felt she had been disrespected or treated wrongly. Word. I first met Javana at a house party shortly after I had turned 14 years of age in the springtime, before I had joined Oh, before I had joined Harlem Prep School. At this time, Giovanna was 16 years of age. She was 2 years older than me. When I first looked at her, if there was anything such as love at first sight, I thought I found it. But it took me a long time before I got anywhere with Giovanna. She thought that I was like too conceited, and she thought that I was too young. Picture that. It wasn't until after about a year later, after Giovanna joined the Black Panther Party, that she let me become involved with her, and eventually we became intimate, and she became my girl. She was my number one girl. I was crazy about Giovanna, and she was my first real love. I never really cared anything about a girl emotionally on a deep level until I met Giovanna. But my moral values as a young black man at that time were distorted. To me, Giovanna was the finest, sexiest, and baddest girl in the whole wide world. But I still had to mess with other girls and fool around who were way below Giovanna's level of excellence. It was just a dog in me. Woof, woof. I loved sex and was just becoming new and open to it, and just like experiencing someone different or new from time to time. Giovanna really loved me, and I didn't understand that at first, what that love was really about and how I was. She just wanted me to show her more respect. And as I started sticking up and taking big money, I started seeing more females and showing Giovanna less and less time and also less respect. I had messed around with a few sisters that was in the Black Panther Party that were real tight or close to Giovanna, and it came back to her face, as well as a few other chicks that was in the same high school that she was going to. And it got to a point where she wouldn't accept it and couldn't tolerate it anymore. Giovanna and I had broke up a little over 2 months before the chemical bank stick up, and Ramona wasn't the cause of it and had nothing to do with it, but Ramona stepped up. And as I sat there thinking about all this stuff, waiting for John and Giovanna to come to the crib, I thought, maybe it would be cool to take Giovanna to see the Jackson 5, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and the Voices of East Harlem at Madison Square Gardens tonight. I figured that at least we could make up and be close, good friends, because it was kind of a chilly vibe between us at this time, and my heart was telling me that I still had deep feelings for her, and I wanted to make things kind of right. So, I'm waiting for John and Giovanna to come to the crib. As I'm waiting, Mike comes back over, and we go outside and we look at the garage. Next to my house, we had a big truck garage that was 2 stories high and was the size of 2 houses. It was a garage that was used for a trucking business that the people who owned the house before us had took a house down and made a big garage out of it. And we eventually, when I moved there, and me and Mike, we was thinking one day when I was, I think, about 13, that we could clean this thing up and paint it up and have parties here. And that's what we did. And we cleaned it up and made it psychedelic. It had blue, black lights and paint and strobe lights and everything like that. And we started out with a nice sound system, and it turned out pretty nice. And then I was approached by Ronnie and the Roadrunners, which was a local live band in the area that everybody liked. And they looked at it and they was trying to find a spot that they could give regular gigs that was big enough to hold a crowd. The garage could hold almost 300 people. And we did that. We built a little stage up there, and Ronnie and the Roadrunners performed, and people went crazy. And, and my mother was cooking food, and she was selling food from the house with my little sister running back and forth with hamburgers, frankfurters, and potato salad and stuff like that. And Pops, I even put him in the business. He was selling liquor, little shot glasses. He wasn't giving no bottles. He had these little shot glasses, and he was giving that out for $1. But you had to be 17 or older, So everybody in the family was making money and having fun. And I became a panther. We used that to raise money to get some brothers out of jail. And the garage became well known throughout all of Queens. Then eventually we had people from Manhattan, from Brooklyn, everybody was coming. It got so crowded, we had a line, we couldn't even let everybody in. And then the police started giving us problems because we had so many people lined up on the block, in the street. They was smoking weed and stuff like that, and they was trying to shut us down, and eventually we cooled it off a little bit because, it became a little problematic. And one night, somebody got a little illmatic and shot a gun up in the air, and, we had to cool it off. And I started getting real involved with the Panther Party, and I let Mike, my best man, my childhood friend, run it one weekend, because I had to go out of state with John, and he did an okay job. But when it came to the money part, oh man, Mike, it was supposed to have been hundreds, and it barely was 100, I'm like, Mike, what happened to all the money? And Mike started drinking beer, man, and it was something else. But I loved him, man, and I understood him. And Mike didn't start drinking beer until his little sister, at 3 years old, got ran over by a Wonder Bread tractor trailer truck. We was coming home from school, and his sister was flat as a pancake under the wheel of an 18-wheeler tractor trailer truck. She was in the yard, her ball had bounced over the gate, and she ran to get it, and the truck claimed they didn't see her and ran over her and stopped last wheel, and they had to scrape her up, man. It's a sight that was so terrible that Mrs. Brown went crazy. Mr. Brown, who was a merchant marine, he divorced his wife. He just left his family, man. Mike didn't have a father no more. And his sister, it just made him a little bit, he became different, and he started drinking, and he would get drunk, and, but when he was with me, he was cool, but I used to have to really keep an eye on him. And that was the main reason that caused us to start sticking up payrolls. The first payroll that we stuck up was Wonder Bread Bakery, okay? And they had, we had somebody that had worked in there and got fired and gave us the inside layout. They had a cage with a safe inside the cage, okay? And we hit them on a Thursday, all right? Because the Friday was when the armored truck would come and take all the money out from the week, okay? And we did that for mainly for Mike's family, you know, because Wonder Bread Bakery didn't give Mike's mother family nothing. They claimed that it wasn't their responsibility, that the little girl should have been watched, that they had nothing to do with her running in the street, which all was a bunch of bullshit. But anyway, we wound up getting, I think we got like about $40,000 from that sticker. That was my first big payroll sticker. And we got $40,000. And we gave Freddie and Larry, who were the brothers that did this thing with me, didn't like the idea, but I made sure that Mike and his mother got half of that money, $20,000. Okay? It wasn't about us. It was about them. You know, Mike's mother couldn't work no more. The father left. Mike became an alcoholic, you know, and they put that money to good use. And, you know, may his sister, little Sweet Pea, rest in peace. 3 years old, man, you know, but that was the beginning. Brothers and sisters, wow, you know, time goes by so fast, and they're limiting the time of my videos. So I'm hoping that I can get this one on because I'm already at 21 minutes. But inshallah, God willing, I will continue. I didn't even get to the part of going to Madison Square Gardens and seeing the Jackson 5, Michael Jackson, I want you back, you know, and the Jackson 5, Earth, Wind, and Fire, keep your head to the sky, you know, and stuff like that. Voices of East Harlem, you know, but we're going to get all to that, but I got to shut it down right now. And I hope that this was a little entertaining for you. And with that, I say, take good care of yourself, be good, you know, human beings, be human, and the beast get back. Power to the people.